Mics are on there. Oh, just wait.
Meeting called to order. Hey, you folks in the entrance, there's lots of room back here. Everybody took a shower here, so you can get closer if you want. I need everybody, if they can mute their cell phones, I sure would appreciate it, so we don't get disturbed. Somebody might order a pizza or something. Okay, I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Make a motion.
Thank you.
Mayor, I need you to remove 6.3 before you adopt the agenda.
Remove off your sheet 6.3. Unfortunately, the caller is sick, so he won't be here. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Cyclone?
Good afternoon, everyone. As most of you know, yesterday was the 22nd anniversary of 9/11, and it's good to see it remembered. A lot of people tend to forget it, though. You know, we said nobody's going to ever forget that, but you have. I remember, you know, the day that happened, we all had a feeling of anger, I guess confusion, bewilderment, like what's going on. There were no planes in the air because all the civilian planes were grounded. We're so used to seeing the contrails from the big jets. And of course, the terrorists had 4 planes that they had in the air. For a few days, even we enjoyed togetherness. Seemed like we had a feeling, you know, love your neighbors, love your family, love your friends. Even good feeling between political parties. And that lasted maybe a week before that didn't last long at all. But that particular day, just at the Twin Towers, it was killed, the greatest tragedy, I guess, a single day we've ever had. 4 EMTs, 60 police officers, 343 firefighters, 2,997 civilians. This is just in the towers in New York. Ironic thing I found about this, I didn't know this till this year. I was doing a little research. The first fireman that was killed that day was not in the towers. He was standing outside with his unit putting all that equipment on, and one of the bodies of the people that jumped out above the 87th floor hit him. And so he never even got inside the building. There were many heroes at that time. The flight where the passengers fought back was where the plane crashed in Pennsylvania. And it was a Beach Mountain connection to that. Fred and I were talking about that before it came in. I had forgotten the person's name, but I believe he said Mr. Bradshaw. Was that right, Fred?
Philip Bradshaw, one.
And his wife was stewardess. It said that a lot of the passengers were able to call home and say goodbye. And the story is that this lady called home and she told her final goodbye. She said, some of the guys are gathered around my station here and they're going to rush the cockpit of the plane to take it over. And she said, I am boiling water to throw in that terrorist's face. And I think we can only hope that he got it in his face real good before the plane went down. There's so many that the firefighters, of course, were all heroes there. There's one in particular that we learned about his name and it was Wells Crowther. He's known as the man in the red bandana. They even had a couple of documentaries about him, and I understand there may be a movie about him even made for TV. From the time he was 6 years old, he wanted to be a fireman. And he always wore a little red bandana when he played around his head, and at all other times. And he went on and became an All-American lacrosse player at Boston College. And he wore his red bandana at all the games, practices. He graduated and passed all the tests to become a firefighter, but they didn't have an opening at the time immediately. So while he was waiting, he took a job on the 104th floor of the South Tower. When the plane hit his tower, he was able to get downstairs. On the 75th floor, he found hurt, confused people. He led them down to the lobby. All he had to do was open the door and out, and he was safe. Turned back around, he went right back up the stairs, again got another group of people. And same thing there, when he got down, it was went back up the third time. He was missing. His mother kept saying on TV some of the survivors were being interviewed, and they all told the same story. They were helped downstairs by a young man in a red bandana. And so in her heart, she knew that this was her son. But she sent a picture to the survivors who confirmed it. 6 months later, his remains were found in the wreckage. A red bandana still attached. At the next Olympics, one of his teammates made the bobsled team, and he wore a red bandana to honor his fallen teammate. Later on, the New York Fire Department made him an honorary fireman, and they named a fire station for him. Greater love hath no man than he lay down his life for another. Will you bow your heads, please? Lord, we thank you for folks like this man, all the heroes of that day, and folks today that put their life on the line to protect us, like our military, firefighters, EMTs. We ask, Lord, to be with our Barry, our mayor, Roy, our governor, Joe, our president, Bob, our town manager, and our town council. And may you continue to bless the United States of America and Beech Mountain. Amen.
Pledge of allegiance. I need a motion to open up a public hearing for the driveway connection nuisance ordinance.
Make a motion?
All in favor?
Second. Aye.
The floor is open. Anybody have any comments on the ordinance? You want going once? Going twice? Sold. Need a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, public comments, Lynn Bernstein.
Lynn Bernstein, 304 Lake Ledge Road. Haven't been here yet this year, but just wanted to come by and also state what I have over the last couple of years, the importance of outreach for the projects that are so important to not only the residents of Beech Mountain, but I want to really stress it's all residents. It's not just voters. It's people who live here, if it's 6 months or whatever it may be, that we are your support network, but we must be educated in order to support your programs. And nothing is more important, in my estimation, than what's happening with the future and our water sources. And there are many people who don't know about it, or how far you've gotten, or what the discussions are. So please, 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 enhance your outreach program for the sake of our community and for the present and the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Guy Anderson?
I signed in, and I have nothing to say. I have a lot to say, but nobody was here.
We'll always be glad to hear it. Leonard Hod? Leonard, you want to buy a hamburger?
Hi, I'm one of the summer residences, summer residents. I think that's right. Okay, my name is Leonard Hilliard. I'm 498 St. Andrews Road in Beach Mountain. I've been in several communities in the past, and I've noticed in this community how clean and how orderly many of the streets are. And I know that it takes a lot of work to do it. But I've seen a lot of houses that are abandoned, and the streets end up being the worse for wear, and the properties on those streets end up being less valuable. There's no reason why in a small community like this we can't have a certain level of proper cleanliness and proper containment of our houses and our properties. And I don't think there's anything in any of the zoning or any of the laws that we have that require minimum values. But I think it wouldn't be that much of a problem to start having some of those minimum values for properties. Abandoned properties, for one, I think they can be attacked any time. Other properties that people don't care about, I think they should have some notifications. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott? From the North Carolina Wildlife?
Yes,
Welcome
sir.
aboard.
Let me catch up.
Okay. Thank you, Town Council and people of Beach Mountain for allowing myself, Scott Loftus with the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission to come speak with you guys this afternoon. So just wanted to briefly highlight a project that the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission did with the town of Beach Mountain last calendar year. Next, please. So the title slide I should have mentioned was it's just a cooperative project between the town and the Wildlife Commission, and it was to restore fish passage and reduce habitat fragmentation for native brook trout, which is our only trout species in western North Carolina, and really unique to Beach Mountain to have such a strong brook trout population in Pond Creek itself. But as anybody that's traveled the roads know that it's culverted, which we also call corrugated metal pipes, in several crossings, and those culverts created the purpose and the need for our cooperative project. One, they create passage issues and fragment habitat for brook trout, and they do that due to the slope of the pipe, the length of the pipe, water depth inside the pipe, the velocity, and the outlet drop. Next, please. So that was the interest from the commission. From the town's perspective, pipes create maintenance, shall I say, nightmares. Certainly headaches, it's ongoing, it's expensive for the town and staff to maintain these pipes. So, because pipes also not only restrict organism passage, but they restrict passage of sediments and debris, which creates the maintenance issues. Next, please. So, just going through it rather quickly, but on Pond Creek Lane, just wanted to show a before and after of our project. The solution at this crossing was to replace the existing pipe, which was a 48-inch pipe, believe it or not, which sounds big. But you can see from the width of the stream there that the width of the stream is equally that wide on either side of the pipe. So our first approach was to buy a larger pipe, which increased the diameter from 48 to 80 by 60. So it was a somewhat squashed, or what they call a D-bottom pipe, which just makes the bottom a little bit flatter. It accepts that wider width of the channel a little better. And we reduced the length of that pipe. Again, that helps with the passage, but the diameter really helps with the maintenance. And we added rubber baffles inside of the pipe. And I'll show you next, please, why those baffles are important. So the baffles do one of several things. They increase the depth of the water in the pipe, and they reduce the velocity of the flow as it goes through the pipe. So it creates these pools or stair steps, if you will, inside the pipe that's more conducive for organism movement, particularly upstream. Next, please. So this is an example of a pipe without baffles. You see the low depth and the high velocity that I mentioned that the baffles help to rectify. And then the second spot that we worked, which was just downstream of Pond Creek Lane, was on Indian Trail. So this was a big pipe. This is a 72-inch pipe. That's six feet. So and maybe a pinch over 6 feet, because I've got pictures of folks standing in that pipe and it's over their head. So what we did here, the top photo is the existing pipe. The bottom left is the pipe showing the baffles. Again, we're increasing the depth and slowing the velocity. And the last thing we did there was address the perch of the pipe, and that's the outfall. If it gets over about 10 inches, trout and other fish species can't jump into that pipe to start with to continue their way upstream. So we added a natural rock structure at the outlet side of that pipe to back the water up closer to the lip of the pipe. Next. So just briefly wanted to highlight that project for town council and members of the community. It was a unique approach for the Wildlife Commission to be able to address our interest with managing fish and wildlife in the state. And I hope it was beneficial to the town to work cooperatively with the commission to increase the size of the pipe and do these retrofits. Just wanted to thank Daniel Davis, the town of Beech Mountain, and Todd Hodges for their assistance during this project. Thank you.
Scott, I got a question. Do you guys dictate the diameter of the pipe and the town installs it?
We
or
get
do you
it.
guys install it?
So each project would be different, right? For this particular project, we had it engineered. So we want to know that the watershed process can fit through the pipe. So they do that hydraulically with their HEC-RAS modeling and so forth. So anything that would typically be done when you're sizing pipes to build roads, we ran that through our engineer. We got the size of pipe we needed. The state bought the pipe, and as we see here in the photos, the utilities equipment and staff were used to, we unloaded it in the yard up here. This was February, which I might add, it was a pretty unique day because I don't make it to Beech Mountain bunch. I enjoy my time up here, but on that particular day when I got here, it rained, it sleeted, it snowed, the wind blew, the sun came out, and then it all started over again. But we got the pipe unloaded. Daniel's staff helped us unload it, set it in place that day. So town equipment and time and the commission bought the pipe.
You didn't bring any lifetime fishing permits with you to hand out?
I can give you the website for those.
Any other questions? Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
All right, we have the renaming of the visiting center. We got a resolution. And our Vice Mayor, Jimmy Accardi, is going to read it.
Before you read it, just a quick question. Can we go through just how we got to this point on it? Just a little background information before it's read.
Sure. This was at the request of residents and the TDA folks and the staff at the TDA to recognize Elena. And since we were doing a renovation and redoing the visitor center, we thought it would be appropriate to bring it before you to name it.
And Elena has a long history with the visitor center.
Oh, absolutely. She was the front desk person, if you will. And certainly our residents and our visitors got used to visiting with her and finding out what's new on the mountain, what was going on the mountain. And she was the person who answered the phone and answered the front desk. And the rest of the visitor center staff, they're all here today. I don't want to lessen their importance, but she was the glue that made that place work. Always smiling, always friendly. When I would call over there to talk to someone, either Kate or Mondo, she would answer the phone. She knew it was me. She could tell on the phone. She would answer the phone as if I was the most important visitor from South Florida. So she was very important to our team.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Junior's gonna,
Let him read it.
Junior's got his
He's
opinion.
got his say too.
Resolution to rename the Beach Mountain Visitor Center the Elena Continas Visitor Center. Resolution number 2023-15. Whereas Elena Continas made her home in the town of Beach Mountain in 1986, and whereas Elena Continas was a businesswoman who helped create the now iconic Brick Oven Pizzeria restaurant and entertainment complex. Whereas Elena Continas raised her family and encouraged them to remain in the town and continue to own and operate small businesses. And whereas Elena Continas understood that the town of Beach Mountain was a great place of beauty and to be shared with residents and visitors alike. And whereas Elena Continas worked for decades at the front counter of her family's restaurant and many years across the street at the front counter of the visitor center. Her weekly calls to businesses, lodging partners, and other interested parties helped keep everyone informed of activities on the mountain and to promote the mountain's offerings and visitors. And whereas her kindness, compassion, gentle spirit, my apologies. Whereas her kindness, compassion, gentle spirit, genuine willingness to help everyone she met with visitors and residents develop a positive feel about the town. Now therefore, be it resolved that the center shall be named the Elena Continas Visitor Center of Beach Mountain, North Carolina, in keeping up with the time-honored tradition in recognizing the honoring of its important citizens. The town of Beach Mountain thanks Elena Continas for her years of selfless service and will place the name Elena Continas Visitor Center on the new Visitor Center building when construction is completed.
They would like to take a picture. Would you do it with your, his phone? This way here, we can keep Junior quiet.
He says no. You hit the back of my head. Good job.
Quick story about my mom. I lived with Mom for a long time. I'm not embarrassed of that. I enjoyed living with her, and Mackenzie and I, we lived with her for a long time. And one day I went up to Mom, and I was like, this is a couple years ago, I was turning 25, and I was like, Mom, am I starting to lose hair? Am I thinning? You know, moms. No, honey.
You're fine.
Of course not. I was like, whew, all right, good, I still got it. And keep in mind, this is like 9 o'clock at night I'm asking her, right before bed. I wake up 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And on my nightstand, there's a box of Rogaine hair solution. I don't know how it happened to appear, but that's like the most, it speaks a lot about Mom, because I just wanted to share that. And obviously my son got all my hair, so. But, and then one other quick story, and Bob and Armando, Kate, Paul, and anybody that was constantly in the visitor center. Mom's when Mom fell asleep finally, what started was a simple trip and fall, and it just escalated, or I guess not escalated, it just tailspinned into her going to heaven. But Mom struggled with short-term memory, and every day she'd ask me or one of my siblings, hey, will you call Armando or somebody, make sure that my job's still good at the visitor center. Tomorrow, I'll be there. And tomorrow would come and go, and I'd call a lot or text Kate or Bob, and finally, the one time I did call Bob, I was like, Mom, I'll call the head honcho, I'll call Bob. And I called Bob, and he answers, hey, what's up? And I said, my mom's worried about her job. She loves it so much there. And Bob's like, well, you know the boss man. She don't have to worry about nothing. Whenever she's ready to come back, she's welcome. So it's just, I thank you guys for listening to those stories and being here if you're in support of this. And I just wanted to share that with you, and thank you very much.
Actually, I was gonna send you a wig, but can I tell you? Okay, I need a motion for the consent agenda.
Make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. New business. Planning board appointment. We got Tim Holland who would like to be appointed as on the planning board.
I'd like to make that motion.
All
I'll
in favor?
second. Aye.
Aye.
Tim has been volunteered to be on the planning board.
Does he know it?
He knows it. Okay, water system management program. I need a motion. Is there any questions on that program, management program?
No.
Anybody have any questions?
No, sir.
Pretty straightforward. Any motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I need a motion for the ordinance amending the driveway connection.
Make a motion.
I need a second.
I'd like to ask a few questions
Sure.
about this.
Go ahead.
When you have property on Beach Mountain, where is it just based on the drawing of the property and where your property ends and the actual road begins?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So we've got a number of different scenarios, but in all cases, the town right-of-way can cross over private property lines. So you could have a private property on your plat that crosses into the road.
Okay.
And the road right-of-way then is a legal right of the town to build that road, maintain that road, and keep that road in forever. In many other cases, the property line is behind the road right-of-way.
Okay,
So the road right-of-way still is the same, but the property sits back a number of feet. And the issue here is that the road right-of-way and the associated ditch for drainage, if you will just think about in the beginning, there was road right-of-way and a ditch to drain the water. Someone comes in, builds a house. They ask permission to put in a driveway that they own and they put in, and it would block the ditch. And we would, at every house, we would stop the flow of water. So a culvert is required to be put into that driveway.
okay,
So that driveway, a portion of that driveway in many cases, and the culvert in many cases, is outside of the property line and in the town right-of-way. And in some cases, it is actually within the private property boundaries, but it is always in the town right-of-way.
okay,
So the town has the legal ability to maintain that right-of-way and that drainage. And so a section of that driveway in many cases and the culvert, although they belong to the property owner, are in the town right-of-way. And we require that to be maintained so that we can, one, take care of the road, provide the road, and provide for proper drainage. The reason we're asking to codify this is, you may recall back in April, we amended the driveway ordinance to clarify the size of the culvert and things like that. And now we need an ability to enforce that driveway manual, if you will, into the ordinance. So this amendment to the ordinance codifies those changes.
okay. My second question on this is, how is this reported? Is this reported by the town based on Public Works employees seeing drainage issues, or?
Well, it's reported a myriad of ways. Typically, we have a rainstorm and my phone rings, and people say, my street is rutted, my street is covered up, my neighbor's culvert is plugged. A lot of people believe that the town is responsible to clear their private culvert, and that is not true. This clarifies that. Many times, Public Works goes out to repair a road, and we find that the source of the problem is a plugged culvert or a failed culvert that needs to be replaced. And then our code enforcement through Mr. Yates' office handles notification and getting that repair done.
Okay. So as far as notification goes, is there, I didn't really see like any type of time period on correcting the problem once notification is made.
No, this is a driveway standard, and it specifies the technical aspects of the driveway. If the driveway or the culvert or the ditch is in violation, there's a process in our zoning code where Mr. Yates' office provides the proper written notice. There's an appeal procedure. There's
Okay.
the ability for that to be enforced. It's through our code enforcement process.
Okay. All
Is there
right.
any safety benefit to it?
Well, certainly. Maintaining the roads is becoming more and more difficult with the drainage we have. So that the ability for us to maintain the roads and the drainage is a direct benefit for safety on the roads.
But it's not, yeah.
I'll also add, from a safety and potential liability question, one of the problems is, especially in the winter where water will run down the driveway and then onto the road, it will first wash away all of the salt or slag that we have placed there, and then that water will then refreeze on the road, making it hazardous to some of the traveling public. And we have dealt with complaints in the past where folks have actually been driving on the road and slid off the road, where we've had water coming across the road off private property. And this is to codify what's already in the driveway connection manual that staff has, but it also addresses the ability of the town to require that to be corrected, so that we don't have a problem of water coming across onto the road, freezing, and not have a way to require the property owner to keep that from happening.
So if there's an accident, who's held liable for the accident if it's proven that it was created from the path of the water from the homeowner's house or personal property?
Potentially, if the homeowner refuses to fix it, it could be a liability of the homeowner. if we're aware of a problem with our roads and we don't fix it, potentially it's a liability for us.
Any other questions? Okay, I need a motion.
Make a motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Land lease agreement with Walter Eggers for the
Elder, sir.
Elders, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Revocable trust. Yeah, anybody have any questions on the lease?
As far as placing all the construction material, is it gonna become like a junk site with asphalt? Because it is the entrance of the town, so.
No, this speaks to two properties. There's two specific properties, so let me clarify. The first property is across the street, in the entrance to our town. What we found out over the last few years that I've been here is we have no legal ability to manage that property. We have a handshake agreement, we've put substantial dollars investing in that, but literally it could be developed privately at any time with anything. So this is a 30-year lease for that piece of property, foremost so that the town can always have control over what would be on that piece of property as the entrance to the town, and we plan to continue it as it is now, as a parking area, kiosk. Along with that, we have the Ski Loft Road project coming next year, and we need a place to stage equipment. It's not a dump site, it's not something would be in the least bit permanent. And after the construction, it would be returned to at least to the condition it is now.
Yes, sir.
The second piece of property is different, however. It's up behind the Meadows tank, the parkway by Katz. That is proposed to be an equipment supply laydown yard to put piping and manholes and things that we don't have space for at Public Works. You won't be able to see it. It's hidden in the woods. We'll be improving it. But now that site will be more of a permanent equipment staging, material staging area for the town for the next 30 years.
General public isn't, it's not like an eyesore.
You won't see it, and the public won't have access to it, and we'll actually, we'll use that, and we'll be constructing a dirt road behind the hotels to access it. So we'll be able to access from Public Works to that material storage area. That will have material stored on a permanent basis.
Thanks for clarifying.
Any other questions? I need a motion.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Town manager's report.
Mayor and Council, I've got a few things here. Just to update you on some of the projects, the Town Hall Visitor Center project update, it is behind schedule. We've had some water damage from the rain into the existing buildings of both the Visitor Center and Town Hall. The contractor is responsible for that damage, and we're putting them on notice. They've acknowledged that. They're trying to mitigate some of the issues that have been occurring. So I don't see a problem there other than it slowed us down a little bit. You will see Wednesday, tomorrow, they'll begin moving into the new piece into the old town hall, cutting up the roof again and over dispatch, and hopefully that's being coordinated very tightly with the police department so that we can manage that connection as best as possible. The new swing set and rubber surface at the dog park, work should begin this week, Sean Royal tells me. That was funded 100% by the TDA, so that's a nice addition to the dog park playground. Our Pinnacle Ridge well site, the walls for the building are up. The well pump has been installed. Additional work is progressing and we're on schedule. So if you recall, we anticipate having that well actually putting potable water into the system late spring, early summer of 2024. So a big thing that I want to share with you briefly is our water restrictions. I know it's been raining, and I just told you we had damage at the visitor center because of rain. The type of rain that we're getting is not beneficial for our lake. It comes very quickly, our bucket fills up, it goes over the spillway, and then we go through several days of drought. The chart that I gave you, and I've got a picture of it up on the wall, that's Buckeye Lake in the last 30 days that's reported to the state from the USGS. And it doesn't matter what the numbers are, just take a look at the graph. We're losing water on a daily basis. Compound that with the fact that our usage is 14 days out of the last 35, our usage has been above average. So we're producing and using 500,000 to 600,000 gallons per day, and our water supply is diminishing. We may be required to move to phase 2 restrictions, which is a little bit more severe than the current phase 1. We've gotten, I've gotten some gigs about the sign that says conserve water, particularly when there's a thunderstorm and it's a deluge. But I need you to understand that that type of rain really doesn't do us what we need. We need multiple days of steady rain that will refill the aquifer. Once Buckeye Lake fills up and it goes over the spillway, we've lost all that water, which is what the Lake Coffee Project hopefully will mitigate. So that we do have a water problem, and we're going into August was a drought month for us, and the lake we're losing capacity there. So that brings me to my next project, the Lake Coffee Project. We've begun geotech drilling yesterday at Lake Coffee. We'll be drilling 27 drill holes. It'll take about 3 weeks. And what we're looking for is what's the substrate below the surface so that the engineers can design the dam. So we'll see, when the stakes showed up at Lake Coffee, my phone started to ring, what's going on, what's going on? So now we've got a drill rig there. Once they're done, things are going to basically stop. We're going to be doing some things that you may or may not notice. But now we're into the design mode. More importantly, we don't have any money. The state budget, I'm told today, Representative Pickett's office told me that they anticipate passing the budget this Friday, and then it would go to the governor. He tells me that there are funds in the budget for Beech Mountain, but no one will tell me how much. Our federal grant application has been put on pause by the federal government due to a funding problem. They've got fires in the Hawaiian Islands, they've got hurricanes in Florida, and some flooding in the Nevada area. So they've paused, pleasant word, our funding, although they did tell me that the application is really good and has a lot of support. But I do want to thank Representative Virginia Fox. We reached out to her. She had her staff contact FEMA, and we got some answers. But it's not good. That's been paused. Last but not least, we have the bond issue on the November 7th referendum, the election. And we've gotten a lot of calls about, why aren't you out there selling this thing? And as I've shared with all of you, the state statute is very specific on what the town and the TDA as part of the town can do in relation to the bond issue. We cannot be accused of putting our finger on the scale pro or con. So it makes it very difficult for the town to get the word out to the public that there's a problem and we have a solution. We think this is what you should do. So I encourage people to come in and see me, visit. I can show them the problem, show them the solution, but we can't champion the bond in any way, shape, or form. Ski Loft Road project. We only received 2 bids on September 5th, and because of the size of the project in dollars, state statute does not allow us to accept just 2 bids. We have to have 3. So we've re-advertised the bids for the 14th. And assuming those 2 bids are resubmitted on the 14th, the law does allow us to open those and select one. Time is of the essence on this project. We are committed to beginning April 1st of 2024, and as you know, we've got 180 days to complete the project. I don't have 30 days to wait for the next council meeting. I've spoken to the mayor, and I'd like to ask the mayor to call for a special council meeting on or about the 19th of September, so that we can do one thing. I can bring you the bids, hopefully, and we can award the bids so that we can, one, get a contractor on board, notice to proceed, and begin ordering materials. The issue right now is timing-wise for materials. We've got to get the materials, and the contractor does, ordered and in the pipeline, so to speak. It is pipe. Or we're not going to make the April 1st timeframe. So I would ask if you would consider that for me, Mayor. The town still has vacant positions on the planning board. We have one position. We have the TDA has a vacant position, and the Board of Adjustment has a vacant position. So if interested citizens would give me a call, or give the town clerk a call, or complete an application, we'd be more than happy to bring that before town council. The tax bills went out. We have a printing error, and it's not in the mathematics. The tax bills are correct. The rate, the ad valorem rate per $100 shows 0.68. It is 0.65. The printing in the box is what's incorrect. It's not the amount of the tax bill. If you calculate the tax bill, it is correct at the 0.65. So I want to make sure that everyone knows about that. If there's any questions, give our tax collector, Rebecca Ward, a call. She can either walk people through it, how to calculate it to make sure that their tax bill is correct, or it's been corrected, we can issue another tax bill. The next and last farmers market is set for October 6th. It starts at 2 o'clock over at the parking lot. There'll be a free live concert that day. And the theme, I believe, is Apple Time is Here. That's why you have an apple and a nice sign, courtesy of Sandy Carr. So we've had 3 wildly successful farmers markets, and I think the next one will be even better. So we invite you all to be there. Mayor, that's what I've got for my report.
Okay, I've got a call for a special meeting on September 19th at 4 o'clock.
Motion?
I don't know.
All in favor? I need a second. It'll be short anyway.
Very short.
So if we don't have 3 bids, then we won't call the meeting.
We only have to have 2 for the
Okay.
second round.
Okay.
Technically only have to have 1 at the second round.
Okay.
You can certainly, your options will be re-advertise and see if you can seek additional bids. But on a second round, you only have to have a single bid that's submitted. And it's up to council's discretion whether that bid is acceptable to you or not. If you have multiple bids, you're required to take the lowest responsible bidder's bid.
That's not a
Okay.
problem.
So what I plan to do, assuming that we receive bids on the 14th, the engineer will review those, bring those to Daniel and I, and we'll bring you either a recommendation to award a bid, hopefully, or we'll bring you a recommendation to re-advertise.
So, yeah, if we can do early.
Well, when the bid closed?
Well, anytime around the 19th, anytime.
No, what time, date, hour.
The bids close at 2 o'clock on the
So it
14th.
could be any time after 2.
Okay.
But
Because I have
I need some time, that's why I said make it the 19th. I need some time to get it to the engineer.
No, the 19th is fine, it's just, they're trying to figure out,
But you can make it any time on the 19th.
I have to leave beach by 11.
well, we can't make it before 11. It's gotta be open at 2.
What?
No. We open on the 14th. The 19th is when I'd like you to call for a meeting. You can have it any time on the 19th.
So you wanna do it at 9? How about the 18th?
18th, I'm open.
The 18th okay for you? The 18th okay for you? 18th okay for you?
I'm out of state.
All right, so we'll have 3 of the council members here. I'm available.
What time?
Anytime for me.
Jimmy?
Anytime.
Anytime?
Yeah, earlier the better. That's Monday, right?
Yes.
3 o'clock? 3 o'clock?
Sounds good.
So we'll advertise, it requires a 48-hour notification. We'll advertise tomorrow for the 18th at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Mr. Mayor, would you take a motion to that effect?
I need a motion.
Motion.
Need a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Kelly, comment, Clark, any closing arguments?
Just wanted to do a pitch for the Beach Mountain Historical Society. You should see the new marker that was there, and on behalf of the Historical Society, I hoped Calder would be here because he was a very important part of getting that marker up there. But we'd also like to thank the chief for all the hard work in getting that done, Mayor for remarks made and hard work. Daniel, thank you very much on it. Michael Holland, Fred Fole, and especially the police department that made everything go smoothly. And that's all I got.
Mr. Abernathy?
I wanted to comment on, if I'm pronouncing her last name, Lynn Bernstein. She's not here, is she?
Yeah, she's right there.
There you are. So, I know you've commented on this before, and at times there's misinformation that is distributed through the community. And I think that, I believe in being transparent. I don't know what else we can do. We can certainly discuss how we can get more information out there. But at the same time, this is probably the largest crowd that we've had in maybe a year, give or take. And if we could get a few people to attend our council meetings and make sure that the information that is being communicated in the community is accurate. And as you see today, there's a wealth of information that with things and projects, special projects, just everything that's going on in the town. And/or, if one person could maybe one or two people review the video of the council meeting, and if you guys have a ladies group and it comes up in discussion, and this is what's going on within the town, and then I think the information is going to be much more accurate. And then the other thing is that occasionally drop by town hall and visit with our town manager and hear firsthand what projects are going on, what's new, what's coming up on the horizon, and distribute, it could be a short conversation and distribute that information. I think the more information that our citizens have, regardless, and I used to hear it more often, a few years ago, that people's voices, if you're not a full-time resident here and you don't vote, then, our voice doesn't count. And that's just not true. I think it does count. And I think I can speak for this entire council when I say that.
I'm very happy to meet with you sometime to talk a little more about outreach and some of the opportunities that the town might have to organize and to support the programs and to get that information out to the community.
So I'm not trying to put the monkey on our town manager's back. However, there are a lot of times that he's not that busy, and so I think that in order to keep, if you ask me a question and you ask Kelly a question, you ask him a question, you ask Jimmy a question, you're probably going to get 4 different answers. And I think that the best line of communication needs to come from our town manager.
You don't think social media?
And that's what you want, is all of those opinions, so that you can then develop some kind of program. You want to engage the community, you want to bring them out to meetings so that you can understand what people are thinking, and then you can develop a better way of communicating.
Well, in response to that, I think, and I'll speak for myself, is that I want the information not to be an opinion or this is what we may do, and you go directly to our town manager, and the information is going to be 100% accurate. There's not going to be any gray area in it. The other thing is that to go to our general fund, we had discussed several months ago, about maybe taking some additional funds that we have in our general fund and investing it in maybe the old public works facility before it gets too dilapidated, and some projects that we may need to invest in. And our audit is coming up when, Chief? Next month?
No,
Or 2 months?
we'll probably have a presentation December.
In December?
Yes, sir.
So when will we, so we'll have a clear picture in maybe January when we could invest in some of these projects?
Well, you'll have an audited financial statement. The information that our finance director's provided you is unaudited, but it's extremely accurate.
So we, rather than waiting till December or January when we have new council members, we'd be able to pull the trigger on this with this council?
Well, I could not get that project accomplished. You know, I need to go back and get it bid. It would be, at the earliest, it would be a spring of '24 project.
But we could at least go ahead and approve it, right?
Well, I would not go out and do the work unless I thought there was a reasonable expectation we were going to do the work, you know, do the project. There's going to be some money spent up front to get it designed, update the engineering, and get it bid.
Right.
But we could not do any of that work before spring.
Okay. And Lynn, you also made a comment about how, or someone made a comment about how nice Beach Mountain looks, and whomever made that comment. We don't hear many positive comments, and I think that, you know, from where we were however many years ago to where we are today, Beach Mountain has done, you know, I always told Chief Pudney that Beach Mountain looked old, looked worn out, we needed a facelift, and I think that where we are today, we need to keep the momentum up and keep Beach Mountain looking as good as it can be and should be. And, you know, it's a thankless job, but neither here nor there. I remember when we made the decision to do the bear-proof cans, and if you guys recall, all the trash that was on, I mean, it was every week, you know, there were bear hits. And I don't think that we've had, when's the last time there's been a bear hit, or maybe I shouldn't ask, but.
There's three?
We show 3 in the report this for last month.
So it's very few and far between, and I think that's a reflection on some of the positive decisions that this council has made. Thank you, and thanks for everyone that attended today.
Do you need a glass of water?
Daniel, you did good. Thank you.
Mr. Gardy? Right. We get, or I get, and I think you do, we get a lot of people ask us why we do these presentations. You know, a lot of people volunteer their time, and we ask for people on the board, different boards, and we don't get any people volunteer. Right now, we've had boards open for 3 months, but you get like Alina, you get like Fred, you get like Calder. They voted their time, their precious time, to help the town, and they're always the face of the town, and they do a lot of stuff for the town. So we feel it's important that we recognize them, and so this is really the main reason why. You know, Jimmy was talking about his mom. For many years I was coming up here, and when I go to the brick oven, who's the first person you get to see when you walked in? It was his mom, your mother's, and your father's, standing at the cash. Didn't sit down, she was always there, never moved. But she always had a smile. Didn't matter if it was raining or if it was snowing, whatever it was, she was always there. Well, she uses the same attitude at the visiting center. And so this is why we feel it's important that she get recognized. And unfortunately, Calder's not here today, but we want to recognize him too. He's been on practically every board. He's done so many different things for the town. I don't know if you know, but when you go and vote, he's at the precinct, taking care of all the election information. So this is why we honor people on the town. It's very important. So, I'd like more volunteers to come up and join the different boards. And again, if you really want to know what's going to be part of the town and want to know what's going on in the town, be part of the boards. There's a lot of opportunity there because you guys are going to make the decisions and bring it to the council what's going to be done for the town. So there's ample opportunities. And then, of course, like Mr. Abernathy was saying, we have a website, we have video, we have our part-time town manager. Well, he is part-time because the other part he's a fire chief, which is very important also. But, and talk about the fire department, it's gonna be 50 years,
Yes, sir.
and what, on the
23rd, we're having a party for the members of the fire department and some of the past members. And we're going to celebrate 50 years.
It's 50 years of the volunteer fire department. And let me tell you, I'll put them against anybody. We get calls from Banner Out because they can't get anybody to respond, and we have to go respond to them. So the town offers great opportunities, great features, and I really want everybody, rather than look at the negative, let's all sit here tonight and recognize Lena and Calder and think very positive from here forth. Thank you. Any motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
No. No.
Really?
Really? Yeah, what do you want to say?
Okay, since we're all here, we're all concerned about the water, the town can't do anything, can we do something?
Absolutely.
We could get like signs made or something and put them out there and, is that okay?
I'm not
So,
saying
as far as the referendum, which is what you're referring to for the election, Mr. Pudney is correct that the town itself cannot fund or support or advocate for the referendum. The town itself can provide objective educational materials as to why it's been proposed, but as far as advocacy for or even against the referendum, that has to be done by private citizens.
Okay, so
So,
if I go on our Facebook and ask people to help out or do something, I don't know, I have something on my radar.
Do you have a fact sheet? Do you have some kind of fact sheet on this? And could that be distributed by volunteers into places, from Fred's to restaurants to whatever, so that there would be a way of educating the community?
so I believe there is a fact sheet and that can be obtained from Town Hall. As far as campaigning, the only other point I'd make to be mindful of is please be mindful of our sign ordinance as it relates to political signs. So that's online and that's also available at Town Hall. But beyond that, certainly citizens can go out and advocate as to the referendum and educate.
Educate through Buckeye, through all of the public establishments within the community, all in a positive way. This is all in support of what's being proposed.
And again, the council can educate, but it's up to the citizens if you wish to advocate. They're limited by statute as to what the council itself can advocate.
So we can't make a sign that says vote for the, no?
You can as citizens of the town.
As long as it
town-
meets the orders, the sign orders.
As long as you comply with the sign ordinance. I'll refer to Mr. Yates, our town planner here, as to questions you may
Make it
have.
5, because they'll take one down and put another one up, and then they'll take it down, put another one up, maybe change the location.
Oh, all right, thank you.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. We just can't be part of it.
Any questions about this project, we would go to the town manager, correct?
Yes.
It's not to be brought up, you know.
Well, I mean, you can bring it up here too, but we don't respond, but the town manager certainly will give you a lot more information and have a lot of fact sheets that you can have and give you a lot more information. Not that we're not informed, but it's just that unless you want to meet with us privately, that's fine, but
No, it's just about a whole bunch of, I consider it like misinformation about what the leakage amount is.
okay.
I can deal with it. Just give me a call, stop by.
We'll talk about it.
Sure.
Yeah, just get with Bob. He'll be glad to give you whatever information you require. Anybody, any of the citizens. That's why he's here. That's part of his job. And he loves it. Can't you tell? Need a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Yes, I need a second. All in favor?
Aye,
Thank you all for coming.
thanks for coming.
Damn, man, you need to drink some water.